Hello students. So today I am doing class 12 science. The topic is continuity of a function. In the last online class also we were doing the same topic, that is continuity of function, and we did some problem in that class. So today also I am doing more problems on continuity of a function. Okay. So page number is 256 from Higher Mathematics for class 12 by Sailendra book. Page number 256, exercise 2a, each question carries 5 marks. Okay, so let's do question number 6, number 2. And in the last online class we did 6 number 1. So question number 6 number 2 is, if the following function f of x is continuous at x is equal to 0. In the question it is given that the function f of x is continuous at x is equal to 0. So what is the given function here? F of x is equal to 1 minus cos 2x upon 2x square when x not equal to 0. And when x is equal to 0, what is the value for f of x? That is k. You have to find out the value for k. So in this case also, it is given that f of x is equal to 1 minus cos 2x whole divided by 2x square when x not equal to 0. So what is meant by x not equal to 0? Either x is greater than 0 and x less than 0. For both this condition, x greater than 0 and x less than 0, we will use the same function, that is f of x is equal to 1 minus cos 2x divided by 2x square. So in this case also no need of getting the separate right hand limit and left hand limit. Just find out limit x tends to 0 in this case. Okay, so in that case both right hand limit and left hand limit are included in that limit x tends to 0 f of x. And also you have to get the value for f of x when x exactly equal to 0, and it is given that this function f of x is continuous at x is equal to 0. That means we can write right hand limit at x is equal to 0 is equal to left hand limit at x is equal to 0 is equal to the value of the function at x is equal to 0. Okay, so let us find out limit x tends to 0 f of x, right? Which is equal to limit x tends to 0. What is the value for f of x in this case? When x tends to 0 means x not equal to 0 in that case. Okay, so what is the value for f of x here? 1 minus cos 2x divided by 2x square. So let us use the formula in this case. What is 1 minus cos 2x? From trigonometry, that is the chapter submultiple angle, not submultiple, multiple angles. That is 1 minus cos 2x. So what is the formula for 1 minus cos 2x? It is 2 sine square x, right? What is 1 minus cos 2x? It is 2 sine square x. So which is equal to limit, this is your x tends to 0. What is 1 minus cos 2x? It is 2 sine square x divided by 2x square. So here you can cancel this, 2 gets cancels. Now this is sine square by cos square. Sine square means sine x into sine x. So here you can write limit x tends to 0. This is your sine x by x into sine x by x. So we have written this sine square x as sine x into sine x and x square as x into x, so that it can be converted into its standard form. So which is equal to limit x tends to 0. This is sine x by x into limit x tends to 0. This is sine x by x. So I think you have understood it. So which is equal to, what is the value of this limit? This is 1 into, this is also standard limit 1, which is equal to 1. So both right hand limit is your left hand limit is equal to 1. Okay. Now next, at x is equal to 0, what is the value for f of x? It is given in the question, that is k. So at x is equal to 0, f of x is equal to k. That means f of 0 is equal to k. So you can put x is equal to 0 out there. So f of 0 is equal to k. Now since f of x is continuous at x is equal to 0 is given, that is right hand limit is equal to left hand limit is equal to value of the function at x is equal to 0. Now you can write here, since f of x is continuous at x is equal to 0. Therefore, by definition, you can write limit x tends to 0, f of x is equal to f of 0. Or, what is the value for limit x tends to 0, f of x? It is 1 is equal to, what is the value for f of 0? That is k. That means k is equal to 1. So we got the value for k, which is equal to 1. So you can copy it. Now we'll do the next question now. So now we'll do the next question, that is question number 7. The function f of x is equal to x cubed minus 1 divided by x minus 1 is undefined at x is equal to 1. So in this case, if we put x is equal to 1 here, 1 cube minus 1, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0, that is 0 by 0 is undefined. So obviously, so when you put x is equal to 1, this function f of x is undefined. That means it is defined when x not equal to 1, isn't it? This function f of x is defined at x not equal to 1. Is that clear? So you have to redefine the function so as to make it continuous at x is equal to 1. Again, you have to define the function so that f of x is continuous at x is equal to 1. Okay? So the solution is the function f of x is equal to x cubed minus 1 upon x minus 1 is defined when x not equal to 1. Is that clear? So therefore, f of x is equal to x cubed minus 1 divided by x minus 1 when x not equal to 1. Okay? So you know that x not equal to 1 भनेको चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरि x is greater than 1 and x is less than 1. For both x greater than 1 and x less than 1, we are using the same function, that is x cubed minus 1 upon x minus 1. So in this case also, no need of getting the separate right hand limit and left hand limit. Just you find out limit x tends to 1. Okay? So therefore, limit x tends to 1, f of x is equal to limit x tends to 1, x cubed minus 1 divided by x minus 1. So you can use standard limit out here. You know standard limit form of this kind, that is limit x tends to a, x to the power n minus x to the power n minus a to the power n divided by x minus a is equal to n into a to the power n minus 1. Is that clear? So this 1 which is in the numerator, you can write it as 1 cube. So you can use the formula here. So you can compare these two standard form. So here a is equal to 1, x is x here, n is equal to 3, a is equal to 1. So use the formula. So which is equal to n comes in the front. N means 3 here. 3 comes in the front. Now x is replaced by a. This x is replaced by 1. Whole to the power n minus 1. What is n minus 1? This is 3 minus 1. Right? So which is equal to 3 into 1 whole square, which is equal to 3. That is limit x tends to 1, f of x is equal to 3. Both right hand limit and left hand limit are included in this limit. That is limit x tends to 1, f of x is equal to 3. Okay? Now you have to redefine the function so as to make it continuous at x is equal to 1. So what will be the value for f of x when x exactly equal to 1? F of x should be equal to 3 so that it is continuous at x is equal to 1. So you have to write here. So at x is equal to 1, f of x should be equal to, because for continuity at x is equal to 3, right hand limit at x is equal to 1 is equal to, for continuity of the function f of x at x is equal to 1, this right hand limit at x is equal to 1 is equal to left hand limit at x is equal to 1 is equal to the value of the function at x is equal to 1. All these three must be equal, which is equal to 3. So f of x should be equal to 3. That means f of 1 is equal to 3. Is that clear? Because since right hand limit is equal, left hand limit is equal to 3, so this f of 1 should be equal to 3, so that the function f of x is continuous at x is equal to 1. So you have to redefine the function. Therefore the function is, now what will be the redefinition of the function now? So redefinition of the function is, the function f of x is equal to, the function f of x is, f of x will be equal to, because you have to redefine the function. So f of x will be equal to this one, x cube minus 1 divided by x minus 1 if x not equal to 1. So we can write down the value for f of x as x cube minus 1 divided by x minus 1 if x not equal to 1. But if x is equal to 1, what is the value for f of x? F of x is equal to 3. F of x is equal to 3 if x is equal to 1. So this is the redefinition of the function f of x. So I think you have understood it. So you can copy it. We'll do the next question now. So now we'll do the next question, that is question number 8. So that the function f of x is equal to, f of x is equal to x plus 2 divided by within mod sign x plus 2 when x not equal to minus 2. I told you the meaning of modular sign. So within modular sign x plus 2 is there, its value should be always positive. Within mod x means x को value चाहिँ जहिले पनि के हुनुपर्छ, positive हुनुपर्छ. Whatever may be the value of x, whether it is positive or negative, its value should be always positive. So this function of f of x is equal to x plus 2 upon within mod x plus 2 when x not equal to minus 2. That means x not equal to minus 2 means x may be greater than minus 2 and x may be less than minus 2, right? And f of x is equal to minus 1 when x is exactly equal to minus 2. You have to prove that this function of f of x is discontinuous at x is equal to minus 2. You have to prove that this function f of x is discontinuous at x is equal to minus 2. You have to prove the first part, okay? And also you have to find out find the jump of f of x at this point of discontinuity. So at the point of jump of the function चाहिँ हामी कति बेला निकाल्नु पर्छ, if right hand limit not equal to left hand limit. If right hand limit not equal to left hand limit, then the difference between the right hand limit and the left hand limit is known as the jump of the function f of x. So if right hand limit is greater than left hand limit, jump of the function can be determined by right hand limit minus left hand limit, okay? So but if left hand limit is greater than right hand limit, then the jump of the function can be determined by left hand limit minus right hand limit. ठीक छ? तो यहाँ हामी जम्प अफ द फंक्शन कसरी निकाल्छौं, यो राइट ह्यान्ड लिमिट र लेफ्ट ह्यान्ड लिमिट को डिफरेन्स लाई नै के भनिन्छ, जम्प अफ द फंक्शन f of x. त हामीले जम्प अफ द फंक्शन कसरी निकाल्छौं भन्दाखेरि यदि राइट ह्यान्ड लिमिट लेफ्ट ह्यान्ड लिमिट भन्दा ज्यादा आयो भने जम्प अफ द फंक्शन इज इक्वल टु राइट ह्यान्ड लिमिट माइनस लेफ्ट ह्यान्ड लिमिट हुन्छ, जहिले पनि ग्रेटर नम्बर माइनस स्मलर नम्बर. तर यदि लेफ्ट ह्यान्ड लिमिट इज ग्रेटर देन राइट ह्यान्ड लिमिट आयो भने we can use left hand limit minus right hand limit, that is greater number minus smaller number, to get the jump of the function f of x. Is that clear? Now let's do this problem now. Now first of all you have to simplify this modulus function. Okay, so let us simplify this modulus function first. So therefore f of x is equal to x plus 2 divided by within mod x plus 2. This function is defined when by question it is given x not equal to minus 2. That means when x greater than minus 2 and x less than minus 2. Is it clear now? So let us simplify this function f of x when x greater than minus 2, right? So if x is greater than minus 2, then f of x is equal to, this x remains same because this does not include mod sign. So x plus 2 divided by, so this x plus 2 includes modular sign, okay? So modular sign means its value should be positive. So if x is greater than minus 2, if x greater than minus 2, then what is the sign of x plus 2 now? X is greater than minus 2 means, which numbers can you put x greater than minus 2 means? What do you mean by x greater than minus 2? X greater than minus 2 भने कुन कुन हुन सक्छ? minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Isn't it? So x greater than minus 2 भनेको minus 1. If you put minus 1 here, minus 1 plus 2 is equal to positive 1. You may put 0 also. What is 0 plus 2? That is always positive. So if x is greater than minus 2, then x plus 2 will be always positive. So x plus 2 नै यहाँ के quantity भयो? Positive quantity भइगयो. The no need of putting the mod sign again, okay? Your modular sign line हामीले हटाउने कोशिश गरेको by using the condition if x greater than minus 2. So if x is greater than minus 2, x plus 2 is already positive. So you have to write just x plus 2 only. No need of putting the modular sign. So here you can cancel this x plus 2, which is equal to x plus 1. So I think you have understood it, okay? Now next, if x less than minus 2, then what is the value for f of x? You can write x as it is plus also x plus 2 in the numerator as it is. Now you have to simplify this modular sign. So if x less than minus 2, okay? So let us check the sign of x plus 2 here. So if x less than minus 2, then x plus 2. What will be the sign of x plus 2? X less than minus 2 means which values can you put for x? Which values can you put for x? Minus 3, minus 4 and so on. If you put minus 4 plus 2 is equal to minus 2, which is negative, less than 0, negative. So if x is less than minus 2, if x is less than minus 2, then x plus 2 will be negative. But if you write only x plus 2, if you write only x plus 2, it will be negative. But you have to make it positive, isn't it? If x is less than minus 2, then x plus 2 is always negative. To make it positive, if x is less than minus 2, then we see that x plus 2 is negative. If x is less than minus 2, then x plus 2 is negative. So if you write only x plus 2, this will be negative, but you have to make it positive. To make it positive, write minus sign out here. Is that clear? So here x plus 2 gets cancels. So which is equal to, this is your x minus 1. Is that clear now? So we have simplified this f of x is equal to this expression when x not equal to minus 2. That is, if x is greater than minus 2, then f of x is equal to x plus 1. If x is less than minus 2, then f of x is equal to x minus 1, right? So write down again the function f of x, that is f of x is equal to, what is f of x is equal to? X plus 1. If f of x is equal to x plus 1, if x greater than minus 2. If x greater than minus 2, right? So f of x is equal to x minus 1 here is equal to x minus 1 here if x less than minus 2, okay? Now what is the value for f of x when x exactly equal to minus 2? This is minus 1, which is equal to minus 1 if x is equal to minus 2. So I think you have understood it. Now we will use this function of x. We'll use this simplified function of x to check the discontinuity of the function at x is equal to minus 2. So now we'll write for right hand limit, at x is equal to minus 2. So how will you write it? Limit x tends to minus 2 plus. f of x. f of x is equal to limit x tends to minus 2 plus. So what is meant by x tends to minus 2 plus? X is approaching towards minus 2 from the right hand side. And on the right hand side of x is equal to minus 2, all the values of x are greater than minus 2. So what is the value for f of x when x greater than minus 2? It is x plus 1. So here you should write x plus 1. So x tends to minus 2 plus means minus 2, isn't it? This only indicates that it is approaching towards minus 2 from the right hand side. Okay. So minus 2 plus 1 is equal to minus 1. That means we got the right hand limit as minus 1. Is that clear? So next, for left hand limit, limit x tends to minus 2 minus f of x is equal to limit x tends to minus 2 minus. So what is the meaning of x tends to minus 2 minus? X is approaching towards minus 2 from the left hand side, and all the values of x on the left of x is equal to minus 2 are less than minus 2. So what is the value for f of x when x less than minus 2? It is x minus 1. So within bracket you write x minus 1. Actually what is the value for x? It is only minus 2, right? So this is minus 2 minus 1 is equal to what? This is your minus 3. So I think you have understood it. Okay. Now in this case you have to prove that the function of x is discontinuous at x is equal to minus 2. That is, the function f of x is discontinuous at x is equal to minus 2. So we have proved it. Since right hand limit not equal to left hand limit, so the function f of x is discontinuous at x is equal to minus 2. So in this case no need of getting the value for f of x when x exactly equal to minus 2. Or you may find it, you may get it. So let us find it at x is equal to minus 2. What is the value for f of x? F of x is equal to minus 1. What is x here? F of minus 2 is equal to minus 1. So what is the value for f of x when x exactly equal to minus 2? F of x is equal to minus 1, or f of minus 2 is equal to minus 1. So we can write here. So we have got the right hand limit and left hand limit both. So this minus 1 is the right hand limit, minus 3 is the left hand limit, and this minus 1 is the value of the function when x exactly equal to minus 2. So now you'll write here, since limit x tends to minus 2 plus f of x not equal to limit x tends to minus 2 minus f of x. Since right hand limit not equal to left hand limit, therefore the function f of x is discontinuous at x is equal to minus 2. So it is proved. So now what is to be done here? Also the second part is, also you have to find out the jump of the function f of x at this point of discontinuity. So I told you the meaning of jump of the function. Jump of the function, how can you get it? That is the difference between right hand limit and left hand limit. If right hand limit is greater than left hand limit, then jump of the function is equal to right hand limit minus left hand limit, so that the jump of the function is always positive. Otherwise, if left hand limit is greater than right hand limit, so what is the jump of the function? Jump of the function is equal to left hand limit minus right hand limit. Okay. So now in this case, right hand limit is minus 1 and left hand limit is minus 3. So which one is greater? Right hand limit is greater than left hand limit. So how can you get the jump of the function? So right hand limit minus left hand limit will give you the jump of the function, so that the jump of the function will be always positive. So right hand limit is minus 1, right? So therefore jump of the function f of x is equal to, what is the formula? Since right hand limit is more than left hand limit, so RHL, so this is your RHL minus LHL. x tends to minus 2 minus f of x. So which is equal to, what was RHL? This minus 2 plus is RHL, that was minus 1. Again minus sign is there. What is left hand limit? Left hand limit is minus 3. So which is equal to minus 1 plus 3, which is equal to 2. 2 is the answer. So what is the jump of the function f of x at this point of discontinuity? So which is equal to 2. So that is the answer. So you can copy it. We'll do the next question now. So now we'll do the next question, that is 9 number 1. The function given here is f of x is equal to 3ax plus b for x greater than 1. If x is greater than 1, what is the value for f of x? It is 3ax plus b. When x is equal to 1, what is the value for f of x? It is 11. When x is less than 1, then what is f of x? It is 5ax minus 2b. So this function of x is continuous at x is equal to 1. That means you have to find out right hand limit at x is equal to 1, left hand limit at x is equal to 1, and the value of the function when x exactly equal to 1. All these three must be equal. So if all these three are equal, you have to find out the values of a and b. Okay. So for x greater than 1, we are using 3ax plus b. For x is less than 1, we are using f of x is equal to 5ax minus 2b. That means we are using the different function of x. So in this case, you have to find out the separate right hand limit and left hand limit. Okay. So let us find out first right hand limit. So for right hand limit, so what do we write? So you have to check at x is equal to 1. So limit x tends to 1 plus f of x is equal to, this is your right hand limit. So limit x tends to 1 plus f of x. Oh sorry, you have to put the value for f of x. Now what is the meaning of x tends to 1 plus? That is, x is approaching towards 1 from the right hand side, and on the right of x is equal to 1, all the values of x are greater than 1. So what is the value for f of x when x greater than 1? It is 3ax plus b. Here you can write 3ax plus b, which is equal to, now x tends to 1 plus means 1. So you can put 1 instead of x. So 3a into 1 plus b, which is equal to, this is your 3a plus b. So I think you have understood it. So next you have to find out left hand limit. For left hand limit, limit x tends to 1 minus f of x is equal to limit x tends to 1 minus. So what is the meaning of x tends to 1 minus? X is approaching towards 1 from the left hand side, and on the left of x is equal to 1, all the values of x are less than 1. So what is the value for f of x when x less than 1? When x less than 1, what is the value for f of x? 5ax minus 2b. So right here 5ax minus 2b, right? So x tends to 1 minus means you can put 1 instead of x. So which is equal to 5a into 1 minus 2b, which is equal to 5a minus 2b. So I think you have understood it. So this is your left hand limit. Now you have to find out the value of the function f of x when x exactly equal to 1. Now at x is equal to 1, what is the value for f of x? F of x is equal to 11, you know that. From the question it is given f of x is equal to 11. Now put x is equal to 1. So f of 1 is equal to 11. Is that clear? Now since in the question it is given that this function f of x is continuous at x is equal to 1. Since f of x is continuous at x is equal to 1. Since f of x is continuous at x is equal to 1, therefore what can you write? Limit x tends to 1 plus f of x, that is your right hand limit, is equal to, next, limit x tends to 1 minus f of x is equal to f of 1. F of 1, because all these three must be equal in order to have f of x to be continuous at x is equal to 1. Now, or what is the right hand limit here? Limit x tends to 1 plus means right hand limit. What is the value of the right hand limit? 3a plus b. This is 3a plus b is equal to, what is x tends to 1 minus? That is your left hand limit. What is left hand limit here? 5a minus 2b. 5a minus 2b, which is equal to, what is f of 1? This is your 11. Now, you can solve this equation. Now, all these three are equal, so you can equate first with last and second with last. First is equal to second is equal to third. That means you can equate first with third and second with third. So let us solve it now. So now write down, therefore, equating first and last, what do we get? 3a plus b is equal to 11. Next, 5a minus 2b is equal to 11. So let us mark it as number 1 and this as number 2. Okay, now we have to solve it to get the values of a and b. Now let us solve it. You know how to solve it. This is known as simultaneous equation. त तिमीलाई याद छ simultaneous equation कसरी solve गरिन्छ भनेर. Let us make the coefficient of b equal to cancel it, right? So it is multiplied by 2 and it is multiplied by 1. So or 3 2s are 6a plus 2b is equal to 11 2s are 22. Now multiply by 1 here. 5a minus 2b is equal to 11. Now we can add them, so then we can cancel it. If you add, you don't have to change the sign here. Add गर्दा हामी sign change गर्नु पर्दैन. 6a plus 5a, 11a is equal to 22 plus 11 will be 33. Or what is the value for a? A is equal to 33 by 11. So what is the value for a? A is equal to 3. Is that clear? Now we have to get the value for b. Putting the value of a, putting the value of a in 1. The अब हामी 1 मा हाल्छौं. Putting the value of a in 1. So putting the value of a in 1, what do we get? Therefore 3a plus b is equal to 11. Right? So in equation 1 you can put a is equal to 3, or you may put a is equal to 3 in equation 2 also to get the value for b. So or you will get the same value of b. 3 into 3 plus b is equal to 11, or b is equal to 11 minus 3 3s are 9. Or what is the value for b? B is equal to 2. So we got the values of a and b, isn't it? So a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 2. So these are the final answers. So a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 2. Is that clear? So we'll do the next question now. So now we'll do the next question, that is 9 number 2. A function f of x is defined as follows. The definition of the function f of x is given as f of x is equal to 1 minus sine cube x upon 3 cos square x when x less than pi by 2. So x less than pi by 2 छ भने f of x को value कति हो? 1 minus sine cube x upon 3 cos square x. And f of x is equal to a मात्रै छ when x is equal to pi by 2. And when x is greater than pi by 2, then f of x is equal to this expression, b into 1 minus sine x divided by pi minus 2x whole square. Now in the question it is given that if the function f of x is continuous at x is equal to pi by 2, then you have to get the values of a and b. So in the question it is given that f of x is continuous at x is equal to pi by 2. So you have to find out the right hand limit at x is equal to pi by 2. Left hand limit at x is equal to pi by 2, and the value of the function f of x when x is equal to pi by 2. So all these three must be equal. Okay. Now in this case, when x greater than pi by 2, then f of x is equal to b into 1 minus sin x divided by pi minus 2x whole square. But if x is less than pi by 2, then f of x is equal to 1 minus sin cube x upon 3 cos square x. That is, for x greater than pi by 2 and x less than pi by 2, we are using the different function of x. We are using the different values. So in this case, you have to find out the separate right hand limit and left hand limit. Okay. So let us find out the right hand limit first. So write down the solution for right hand limit. For right hand limit, so what do we write? At x is equal to pi by 2, limit x tends to pi by 2 plus f of x is equal to limit x tends to pi by 2 plus. So what is the meaning of x tends to pi by 2 plus? X is approaching towards pi by 2 from the right hand side. And on the right of x is equal to pi by 2, all the values of f of x are greater than pi by 2. So what is the value for f of x when x greater than pi by 2? That is this one. So b into 1 minus sin x divided by pi minus 2x whole square. So let us find out the value of this limit. Okay. So how can you find out the value of this limit? You know how to get the limit. You have to convert it to standard form. Let us do the method of substitution. So let us assume pi minus 2x as z, right? So let us evaluate it. Let z is equal to pi minus 2x. Let us get the value for x from here. So what is the value for x from here? X is equal to minus 2x is taken to the left hand side. It is 2x is equal to pi minus z, right? Pi minus z whole divided by 2. If you separate it, what do we get? X is equal to pi by 2 minus z by 2. Is that clear to all of you? So I think you have understood it. Okay. So we got x is equal to pi by 2 minus z by 2. Now since method of substitution is done out here, you have to change the limit. That is, x tends to pi by 2 plus means pi by 2. So when you put x is equal to pi by 2 here, this z will be equal to 0. That means when x tends to, now you can write pi by 2. When x tends to pi by 2, z tends to 0. Is that clear? So when x tends to pi by 2, if you put x is equal to pi by 2 here, 2 gets cancels. Pi minus pi is 0. That means when x tends to pi by 2, z tends to 0. X tends to pi by 2 plus means it only indicates that x is approaching towards pi by 2 from the right hand side. You can put x tends to pi by 2 only also. Okay? Yeah, pi by 2 मात्रै लेख्दा पनि हुन्छ. ठीक छ? So now this limit now becomes, therefore limit x tends to pi by 2 means z tends to 0. It is z tends to 0, right? So b into within second bracket 1 minus sine of, what is the value for x? Pi by 2 minus z by 2. Pi by 2 minus z by 2, second bracket is closed. Is that clear to all of you? Instead of x, you put pi by 2 minus z by 2. Now next, in the denominator, what do we write? Z square. This is your z square, right? So which is equal to, here b is constant, you can take it outside limit. So b into limit z tends to 0, 1 minus, what is sine 90 minus theta? It is cos theta. It is cos z by 2 divided by z square. So I think you have understood it. Okay. So what is the formula now? B into limit z tends to 0. Now you should know the formula of 1 minus cos z. What is 1 minus cos theta? What is 1 minus cos theta is equal to, this is your 2 sine square theta by 2. This is from submultiple angle. But here it is 1 minus cos z by 2. So it will be 2 sine square z by 4. 2 sine square, here theta is z by 2. So z by 2 upon 2 means z by 4 divided by z square. So I think you have understood it. Okay. So sine square z by 4 means you can write it 2 times, right? So is equal to, now since also 2 is constant, you can take it outside, 2b into limit z tends to 0, sine z by 4 upon z into next sine z by 4 divided by z. I think you have understood it. Now you should convert into the form of sine x by x form. What is x here? Z by 4. This is your z, right? This is your z. This is z. So now you should write in the form of sine x by x. Instead of x there is z by 4. It should be divided by 4. This also should be divided by 4. Now actually in the denominator we divided by 16. So that should be cancelled. So what will I write here? Into 1 by 16. This is 4 4s are 16. So into you should write 1 by 16. Is that clear to all of you? So next is equal to 2b into 1 by 16 is constant. You can take it outside, right? So you can write down limit for both this standard form. Limit z tends to 0 sine z by 4 divided by z by 4, right, into limit, this is also z tends to 0 sine z by 4 divided by z by 4. Is that clear? So you have to write down limit for both this expression. Okay, so these are your standard limit, which is equal to 1. So 2 1s are 2 8s are 16. So it is b by 8 into 1 into 1, which is equal to, this is your b upon 8. So I think you have understood it. So here right hand limit is equal to b upon 8. Now you have to find out the left hand limit. So now write down for left hand limit. For left hand limit, how can you write it? Limit x tends to pi by 2 minus f of x. Limit x tends to pi by 2 minus. So what is the meaning of x tends to pi by 2 minus? X is approaching towards pi by 2 from the left hand side. And on the left of x is equal to pi by 2, all the values of x are less than pi by 2. So what is the value for f of x when x less than pi by 2? It is this one. When x less than pi by 2, then this function. So instead of f of x, you can write down this function 1 minus sine cube x divided by 3 cos square x. Is that clear? Now you have to evaluate this limit. So which is equal to limit x tends to pi by 2 minus a cube minus b cube form. This is 1 whole cube minus sine x whole cube, right? Divided by 3 into, so you should write cos square in terms of sine. So what is cos square x in terms of sine? It is 1 minus sine square x, right? So I think you have understood it, this one. I think you have understood it. This is a cube minus b cube. 3 into cos square x is 1 minus sine square x. Now this is a cube minus b cube. You know the factor formula for a cube minus b cube, isn't it? A minus b into a square plus ab plus b square. So which is equal to limit x tends to pi by 2 minus, what is a cube minus b cube? That is a minus b into a square plus ab plus b square, isn't it? What is a square plus ab plus b square? So what is that? A square plus ab plus b square, what is it? So you can write here a square. A square is 1 plus ab. Ab means 1 into sine x. That is sine x plus what is b whole square? That is your sine square x whole divided by. Now in the denominator, 3 remains as it is, 3 is written as it is. Now this is 1 whole square minus sine square x, a square minus b square. What is a square minus b square? A plus b into a minus b. So it is 1 plus sine x into 1 minus sine x. Is that clear? So you can cancel them. 1 minus sine x will be cancelled, which is equal to limit x tends to pi by 2 minus, it is 1 plus sine x plus sine square x divided by 3 into 1 plus sine x. So I think you have understood it. Now you can put x is equal to pi by 2. So x tends to pi by 2 minus means x tends to pi by 2. This only indicates that x is approaching towards pi by 2 from the left hand side. Okay. So now x tends to pi by 2 minus means x tends to pi by 2. You can put x is equal to pi by 2. Wherever there is x, you put pi by 2. So is equal to 1 plus sine pi by 2 plus sine square pi by 2 divided by 3 into 1 plus sine pi by 2. So now I think you know the value of sine pi by 2, right? So which is equal to 1 plus this is also 1 square is 1 divided by 3 into 1 plus 1, right? Which is equal to 3 by 6, which is equal to 1 upon 2. So I think you have understood it. We have found out both right hand limit as well as left hand limit. Now you have to get the value for f of x when x exactly equal to pi by 2. When x is equal to pi by 2, what is the value for f of x? That is a. So write down at x is equal to pi by 2. So write here at x is equal to pi by 2. Therefore f of x is equal to a, right? So when x is equal to pi by 2, then f of x is equal to a. So you can write f of, instead of x, write pi by 2, which is equal to a. Is that clear to all of you? Now since in the question it is given that the function f of x is continuous at x is equal to pi by 2. That means what do we write? Right hand limit at x is equal to pi by 2 is equal to left hand limit at x is equal to pi by 2 is equal to the value of the function f of x when x is equal to pi by 2. Is that clear to all of you? So let us write it here now. Since f of x is continuous at x is equal to pi by 2. So therefore what do we write? That is right hand limit. Limit x tends to pi by 2 plus f of x is equal to limit x tends to pi by 2 minus f of x is equal to f of pi by 2. So what was the value of the right hand limit? Right hand limit ko value kati ka thiyo? B by 8. So write down there b by 8 now. So or this is your b by 8 is equal to, this is your left hand limit. What is the value of the left hand limit? Left hand limit is half, which is equal to, what is f of pi by 2? That is a. F of pi by 2 is a. Is it clear to all of you? So now what is asked in the question? You have to find out the values of a and b. So from here, from this relation, you can easily get the value for a and b. So now let us equate first and second. B by 8 is equal to half. Now we can do cross multiplication here. So let us do cross multiplication. 2b is equal to 8 or b is equal to, what is the answer? 4. Now we have to get the value for a. So equate second with last, or you can write a is equal to half. So we have got the answer, right? So which are the answers here? A is equal to half and b is equal to 4. So these are the final answers. So I think you have understood it. So this much is for today. So you revise all the problems that we did today, and also you revise all the problems that we did so far. Okay, हामीले आज जति पनि प्रब्लमहरु गर्यौं यो सबै तिमीले रिभाइज गर्नु घरमा, अनि जति पनि यसको अगाडिको प्रब्लमहरु छ त्यो पनि रिभाइज गर्नु, so that it will be easier for you to do the problem. Okay, so in the next class we'll do the same chapter and we'll do more problems. Is that clear to all of you? So this much is for today.